Connie! Just Connie walking in immediately makes me happy, and the fact that she pretty much immediately indicates that they're going to be training as Stevonnie with a lot of happiness, so I didn't expect this episode to crush me emotionally the way it did.
You didn't expect Steven Universe to crush you emotionally.
I know! I mean, how naive am I to not expect Steven Universe to destroy me on a weekly basis?
I would like to remind you that the Runaway episode.
I mean, at least it's not destroying me on a daily basis anymore, but yes, oh god, the Runaway. That went from so funny to so dark on, like, high speed.
Yes.
But at least we got a really good song out of this episode, and more Ruby and Sapphire is also always a good thing.
Yeah. Okay, so this episode is Mindful Education. In this episode, Steven and a seemingly distracted Connie try fusion training with Pearl and Garnet watching. Stevonnie ends up fighting against a fused Hollow Pearl until they start hallucinating about some kid. After they defuse, Connie reveals that she ended up attacking a kid at school when he startled her and ended up running away. Garnet comes over and decides they need some meditating training of some sorts. And more metaphors and songs happen. And we'll get to that. This, along with Connie apologizing to the kid, seems to make her calm again, and they try Stevonnie training again. But then Steven's kind of far more severe issues come into play, involving a bunch of gems he couldn't help, and that causes Stevonnie to eventually fall off the cliff and defuse thousands of feet in the air. Steven ends up crying about all this, and Connie continually tries to support him, and eventually they are able to refuse and float down safely. And that's the episode.
See, that sounds like it's saying so little, but so much went on in this.
So very, very much.
I mean, it started out with some Steven sweetness of him just cracking dumb jokes about his fake bald head to try and... My dad warned me about this, but I didn't expect it this soon. You know. Poor boy. She's too distracted to ask what he's done with his hair, which is too bad. And she's too distracted to even appreciate Garnet's beautiful, adorable sign.
Yes!
Steven and Connie on one side and Stevonnie on the other. It's a fusion sign. She looks so proud of herself.
Fusion joke.
And she's so excited to see Stevonnie. It's
yes.
Just, oh.
Someone pointed out that the letters on that sign were actually square-shaped.
Yeah, I didn't look that close at the text. I was just giggling about how happy Garnet is because she ships Stevonnie so much. I love how all these characters have built-in ship names. Like, the Ruby and Garnet ship name is... The Ruby and Sapphire ship name is Garnet. It's just built in. But yeah, and we have... I have so many notes that are just repeatedly, Connie, are you okay? What's wrong, Connie? Because she's so clearly unhappy and worried about something. And it's not enough to keep them from fusing or even doing, the anti-gravity thing while fighting. But then she has to freak out. It's like, oh no! Something is worrying her.
Like, oh buddy, where are you going?
And it's an interesting representation of, I don't know what to call it, just one of those moments where everything you've ever done wrong in your entire life just kind of flashes through your head and you have to stand there for a minute and think about how much you suck. That was a pretty good visual representation of one of those moments.
Yeah,
when she remembers the face of the boy that she hurt.
Yes.
Just the way it causes them to defuse because she's so rattled.
Yes.
And it is an unusual, you'd expect her... It's not even that she got into a fight at school with Wilder. I think she just automatically flipped this boy who bumped her in the hallway by accident, so of course she feels awful about that.
Yeah.
But I think a great thing that this episode does also is show that maybe rather than accidentally hurting him, what might have been a real problem was the fact that she didn't apologize. Because as soon as she does, it's okay. She stops destroying herself with guilt, and more importantly, he, the wee boy, gets a sense of that she didn't attack him because she hates him or anything, that she's genuinely sorry about what she did.
I love the picture they take. Like, he's just happy, but he just has this sort of awkward smile, like, eh.
He does have his arm in a sling in it, so, she's awkward, but he feels much better about it, and that stops her ruining herself with guilt as well.
Yeah.
Which is an option that's a bit closed off to Steven. Because all the people he wants to apologize to are not around. That's kind of the problem.
Yeah. I do think it's very interesting that Connie has her problem, and then you go to Steven's problem, and it's just so much worse.
I know.
Oh, God.
And you kind of know it's going to go there from when Steven's trying to encourage Connie, says sometimes you just got to try not to think about it.
Yeah.
Which the show pretty much immediately shoots down as the wrong advice.
Yes.
Like, that's not how you deal with it at all. Steven, you're a precious child, and I know you're trying to deal with stuff, and you're not, which is what they come back to.
So that itself is kind of odd, I guess, because, you know, he is the one who specifically sang a song about how Pearl and Greg should talk. Remember that, Steven?
Yeah, which I suppose probably the difference there was that, you know, both Pearl and Greg were actually alive to talk to each other about their problems. Whereas, yeah, again, he can't talk, and Connie can talk to the boy she needs to talk to. Steven can't speak to anyone that he feels he needs to make things right with.
Yeah, that is true. Though I do think it's, this is not a critique, but I do wonder if they thought about that, because they literally did an episode where he's the one that's telling others to talk about their feelings, and then now he isn't, and it causes this, so...
Well, I think that's what they're trying to address here. They're showing that he's going the wrong way about it. He can't keep pretending that he isn't hurt or upset. Because it has also, I think I mentioned a few times that I love how the show keeps promoting Steven and his friends being emotionally honest with each other.
Yes.
About things. So yeah, this episode is really highlighting, no, seriously, be emotionally open with the people you care about. Seriously, we're going to underline this and put it in bold. And we're going to have a really kind of horrifying nightmare sequence where Steven hallucinates his mother being angry at him. You know.
Yeah.
Which was pretty freaky for a minute.
Yeah. Rose is a supervillain now.
Because he feels bad about... He's such a cinnamon roll. He feels so bad about stopping Bismuth, even though she needed to be stopped. About fighting Jasper, even though she didn't... he says she wouldn't let me help her. She didn't want his help. She fought him till he had no choice but to stop her. And he still regrets it so much.
I mean, it's also way too much for any 14-year-old to handle.
Yeah, it's too much. It's a lot for most adults to handle.
He stabbed a new
boy.
friend, and then he watched an enemy he couldn't help be turned into this corrupted thing, potentially forever, and then he had to send a Ruby into space forever.
Even though he tried to help her, he healed her and everything, and he still had no choice but to shoot off into space because she was.
And then learned his precious mother had to murder.
Yeah. So, I think finding out Rose shattered a diamond kind of opens up a door in his head he doesn't want to acknowledge that, okay, maybe shattering someone might have to be an option, like there might not be any other option. I don't think he ever wanted to acknowledge that as an option. But, I mean, Connie is so good for that boy. Like, she encouraged him that it's okay for him to feel... He doesn't have to pretend he doesn't feel hurt or sad or anything. It's good that he does. I think on another level, it's also good that he still feels this much anguish over his enemies getting hurt. Because if he got numb to that... Like, we've got a lot of signs that Steven could be ridiculously powerful. If he got numb to hurting other people, that could be bad, but he'd still just... He will still fight until he has absolutely, literally no other choice to help others.
Yes.
And even then, he didn't shadow Bismuth or Jasper or anyone. He's bubbled them in case he can help them in the future.
Yeah.
And that's such an important part of Steven's character that I don't want him ever to grow out of that or get hardened out of that.
No. I don't think he will, just because every other episode is a wacky scenario, and like every quarter episode ends up with him doing a adorable tug to an adorable gem.
Yeah, but remember, we already discussed this at the beginning of this episode. With this show, it doesn't mean just because it's being cute doesn't mean it isn't looking to destroy you forever.
Well, yeah, but at the same token, just because it can destroy you forever doesn't mean it can't immediately go back to being cute.
Yeah. It does that balance well. So we kind of skimmed over the song, but we need to talk about the song.
Yeah, like the song and the whole sequence there in the middle. Actually, the first time when I watched the episode, I actually watched this episode twice for reasons. First time I watched it, I was kind of mixed on the song. Like, I liked what the song was doing, but the actual song itself, I felt felt like it was, kind of too repetitive, and I'm not sure a softer song is your best use of an Estelle. But it grew. I listened to it a couple more times. It grew on me, and it works very well in the context of the story they are telling.
I love this song straight away for a lot of reasons. I like that Garnet's teaching Stevonnie meditation, because meditation is a great way for getting in touch with your inner self, and when you are literally made up of multiple people joined together, it's probably a great way to get an inner dialogue going.
Yes. Or an inner song.
Yeah, well, through the medium of song, why the hell not?
Why not?
And I like getting to see Ruby and Sapphire run around because they're always adorable. And it was also a great representation of their personalities, that Ruby is, so short-tempered. She gets so mad over one little thing, whereas Sapphire is trying to be chill when she's being overwhelmed. But I love that moment where you see her looking up at, the upside-down tornado of, anxiety butterflies around her, and how absolutely overwhelming that is, because that is one of the most relatable moments in the show for me. I know that feeling intimately.
I remember in Alone Together, I thought that whole thing with the little disco ball was a perfect representation of anxiety. I'm like, oh, well, I guess not. This is a perfect representation.
That was a representation of an anxiety attack, but this is just the way it feels all the time. It's like it's all building up around you until it peaks at an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
But then you've got just Ruby and Sapphire, I'm here. They're both it's okay. It's okay to feel however you need to feel, because you're not alone.
Actually, that's why the repetition worked really well, because, it's, consistent reinforcement of it. Like the same way someone desperately trying to calm down would.
Yeah. And or if you're trying to calm down someone else, saying, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here.
Yes.
It helps.
I also love that they say I'm here 3 times, which represents one for each of them, and then one for the fusion.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Because they're here, because they're both here, I guess.
Yeah, and it's lovely. And that's what so then Stevonnie has a go, and she's got...
Stevonnie sings, that's the important part.
Oh, I know, their voice is so lovely. I don't actually know who voices Stevonnie. Is it another singer?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm presuming it is, because 95% of the voice cast here are singers.
Yes.
So, help me Google, you're my only hope. AJ Michalka, which, okay.
I want to say she's one of the people who've been in things that people have seen before.
I mean, she's listed as an actress, so presumably she has indeed been in things. Actress, singer, songwriter, musician. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen her. I don't think I've heard any of her music. Although she was in The Lovely Bones. I have actually seen her. Okay. Okay, then. She's only a year older than me, and she's got a successful career.
Hooray!
Yay.
Accomplishing nothing.
I'm sure I'm very popular on the internet talking about video games and gay space rocks.
Absolutely. Someday you might be more popular than Markiplier's second cousin's plumber.
Sadness.
That is such a perfect visual representation, and I love it for that. Especially just how far it goes with all of that.
Yeah.
Especially the part where, all the gems turn into butterflies and then turn into rose. That was great.
That was nightmarish. That was a horror movie moment right there.
Yeah.
Because that was... I mean, before that, I also really liked how, Connie gets really upset over one butterfly, but you see Steven ignoring his butterflies, which is a little bit of foreshadowing during the song. And then it comes back to bite him. Once he's seen that, Connie needed to feel how upset she felt and do something about it rather than just ignoring it, he cracks, and his is, like you said, his is so much worse. And it's, obviously a manifestation of most of his problems is feeling like he has to live up to being Rose Quartz. And he feels like and I think why she appeared to that angry face is he feels like he's disappointing her somehow.
Yeah. Though at the same token, it's also that his idealistic image of her is kind of being cracked a bit.
Just a bit, yeah. Which also has to be a hard thing to deal with, because she is his role model, so it's nothing worse than finding out the person you aspire to be maybe wasn't all that great. Which is also just, a normal part of growing up, is finding out that people are complicated and that no one human is totally pure.
Except Like, oh, I actually did also find it interesting, but kind of weird, is that the one point after Connie explained how she apologized and felt better, Steven looks at her backpack and there's a single butterfly on there.
Yep.
But that's kind of weird because he tried to explain that the illusions were from fusion, but he wasn't fused, so how...
No, I think that was just a metaphorical moment. There wasn't literally a butterfly there, but during the meditation session, butterflies were set up as a metaphorical representation of worries and anxieties.
Yeah, so, but that's really weird when you try to explain how the metaphors are appearing, and then you completely disregard that minutes later.
Well, no, it was just to represent that worry was resurfacing for him.
No, I mean, like, Garnet briefly has a line that says that those, that the metaphors are actually like hallucinations as a fusion.
I think it was more the vision of the wee boy that she saw that was coming up as a vision rather than the butterflies.
It's just really weird because they say that the hallucinations, like the metaphor is actually a thing that they actually see. It isn't just pure metaphor, but then what is the metaphor? What isn't? What is going on?
The metaphor is that when you see butterflies, someone's worried or nervous about something. You gotta poke a finger through the fourth wall a little bit for this one.
I guess, okay.
Just have a little poke through.
There are some lighter moments, thankfully. I loved the hologram Pearl fusion dance. do the robot.
What did she say after she fused? It was like, "Come at me, children," something like that.
And Steven and Connie's dance was just as silly.
But it was so cute, and it got them perfectly in sync.
Yes.
Precious, precious children. They're so cute.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I loved how Stevonnie is apparently Yoshi with the feet.
Yeah. I love they're both so excited that Stevonnie can do the anti-grav thing too.
I mean, imagine. I just thought of a great idea. Onion should wear a Mario costume and just try to run on top of them.
That would just be weird.
That would be awesome. He'd probably abandon Stevonnie to their death to try to get somewhere, just like in the games.
What a disturbing child.
This is a great idea, and now it needs to happen. Because Stevonnie's apparently a Yoshi.
I also love Stevonnie's outfit in this, because I think that almost every time they fuse, Connie's been wearing a different outfit, so Stevonnie always has cool different outfits.
Yeah.
But always navel bearing, because, obviously to show off the gym.
Yes.
And Stevonnie had Connie's braid. That was so cute. I mean, I feel like they step it up just a little bit of a notch for Stevonnie's hair. Like, it was noticeable the last time we saw Stevonnie when they were fighting Jasper. And there has that one shot where Amethyst's staring in shock at Stevonnie from behind, and just the way their hair floats down as they're coming to land. I feel like someone went like, okay, new budget line, Stevonnie's hair. This is one of the most important things to animate.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. This episode had an animation director from Studio Trigger.
Oh, I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, because I told you about it.
Yes, you did. That is where I heard about it.
Exactly. And like, if you look at especially at the training scenes, like the animation is just brilliant. Like the series usually has good animation, but like during those scenes, it is like movie level, fluid. It looks so awesome.
Yeah, you're amazed that what you're looking at is just like a 10-minute episode. No.
Yeah. I mean, people at Studio Trigger should be animating everything ever, honestly, because they're so awesome.
I'm not complaining.
Maybe, actually that would be great if they could just do amusing, I don't know, something like Garnet Universe, except just an episode just animated by them. That'd be awesome.
Honestly, I'd animate more fusion dances, honestly. Or, if they're going to do any more of those, metaphorical meditation sequences, because, you could definitely see their hand in some of the visions in the meditation sequence.
Yeah. I also love, they did the very anime-esque falling while trying to grab onto each other's arms sort of thing.
Yeah, that was definitely a Spirited Away moment, and it was
it
was just as emotionally powerful as that moment was, too.
Yeah.
Because, it's just Connie telling him it's okay however he needs to feel, she's here. So, like, I don't know if they're going to be best friends for life or get married someday or both, but I just hope they're together forever and ever and ever, because they're so good for each other.
Well, presumably if they get married, they would hopefully be,
That'd be a hell of a first dance.
Oh yeah, that certainly would. Actually, thinking about that, Stevonnie would wear the husband and wife suit at the same time.
Oh, no. Have you seen those really cool tuxedo dresses? Oh my god, I'm going to find and send you some tuxedo dresses because they're so gorgeous.
Okay.
And that's probably what Stevonnie would wind up in.
But yeah, I guess that's all we have to say about this episode.
I love it. It makes me happy. Stevonnie
Yes.
and Connie generally do that.
I do appreciate that in season 4 episodes in season 4 we're still dealing with the after effects of season 3.
Yeah, and they're still running the fusion metaphor. Like, fusion has steadily become a bigger and bigger theme over the course of the show. Like, it doesn't seem to have peaked yet.
Yes.
In terms of how they're using it to represent relationships.
Yep. I mean, like, Jasper's entire arc so far has basically been about everything being fusion. Don't you Crystal Gems have anything better?
Well, shall we talk about what Rebecca Sugar said Jasper's character arc is going to be?
No.
Oh. If you care, look it up. It's interesting. It's good.